Hey guys, so today I'm going to be trying to replicate the sound of one of my favorite bands, Limp Bizkit. I've made one Limp Bizkit type beat in the past before that sounds like this. So I feel like that turned out pretty cool, but that was just me dipping my toes for the first time, so I want to try again and see if I can capture that kind of sound and that new metal bounce. For me, Limp Bizkit is a very, very important band, and I feel like a lot of people don't appreciate just how deep their music is and how incredible their production and just like their songwriting is. Whereas with bands like Deftones and Linkin Park from the same kind of era, people respect them these days and don't kind of see them as this like new metal joke, whereas Limp Bizkit, they're kind of the Nickelback of new metal, and you've got to love them, but they're kind of a joke. And I get that, you know, Fred Durst is their singer, so it's kind of like that, and they're very kind of dated in a way, but there's also no band like them, and I just think the energy of their music is unmatched. There's no one else sounds like Limp Bizkit, no one else has that level of like bounce and just like badass energy. I'm not going to rant too much right now, but I really do think they're geniuses in the way that Linkin Park, you know, and I did do a video on Linkin Park and I talked a lot about their genius, but in the way that they kind of fused hip hop and rock, I think Limp Bizkit really did that in a whole different way that's just so amazing how seamlessly they blended like nasty like 90s hip hop with some of the heaviest metal riffs, and then with like other crazy, you know, guitar effects and stuff that Wes Borland is capable of. So as always in these videos, I've got nothing written for this, nothing pre-planned other than these presets, which are just some of my own presets that I have copied over from the last project I made, that was that one that I showed you that sounds like Limp Bizkit. This is the main metal guitar sound I'll be using. You can see it's all red, everything's color coded. So we have these two on the left, these two on the right, and then two octave ones on the left and right. So the main two sounds are just a very standard kind of metal sound. Not too much gain on that, but, you know, pretty chunky sounding. Then we have this more kind of low end, really distorted, intense sound kind of layered under it. Obviously that sounds pretty bad on its own, but you'll see in a minute this really sounds like a huge Limp Bizkit guitar sound with all of them together. So then the last guitar sound in there, if you saw my video on Korn's brutal guitar sound, it's basically that with a bit of tweaking. Not something you'd expect, but like that just sounds like Korn. But listen to all of these together. If you've been watching these videos recently, you've probably noticed that Korn guitar sound can do a lot more than just a Korn sound. Whenever I feel like something's lacking in a heavy mix, I always just try adding that, and it usually fills in whatever's missing. It just adds so much fuzz and like distortion in your ear. So that main metal sound is the Neural DSP 14 amp, which I use all the time. Then I'm just using this like terrible stock Cubase amp for that weird sound. And then the octave, I did the video on that, so check that out if you want to know how I got that sound. So then we have this twangy old guitar. So that's kind of like a crunchy one, I'm thinking maybe for an intro or something, and that's just with the 14 amp but less distortion. And we have this guitar effects, which is very Limp Bizkit. So that's kind of a wacky sound. There's like vibrato, like 14 amp again, vibrato, delay, chorus. And that's one of the many things about Limp Bizkit that I think is underrated, their use of effects. I feel like I hear a lot of influence from like The Cure and stuff in Limp Bizkit, and just like, you know, dream pop and weird genres that you don't really associate with new metal. Right, so then we've got bass sounds and drum sounds, so we'll get into all of that later on. Let's start writing something. Tempo, see how 99 beats per minute works. I always just go around 100 for new metal because it's like, it's just, that's got that bounce. Sounds like new metal already. Bam, 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 bam. I'm gonna program some drums quickly, and let's put some metal drums down and just try and get some kind of like heavy riff. So always with new metal, you've got to start with just a kick and a snare, and then you want some kind of syncopation. Maybe, yeah, you just want something to throw the beat around and kind of emphasize that upbeat a little. Dum bum ba-dum. So we'll go for a crash and some open hats. Dun dun da dum bum ba-dum ba-dum. Copy these hats. There you go, new metal drum beat. I mean, maybe we'll go a little more complicated and do like a bum bum ba-dum bum. We'll see. We could add something like that later on. Let's see how the guitars end up sounding. So I'm gonna loop that, and let's just go straight in. We'll figure out an intro later on. Let's just try and write something super bouncy and heavy. See what I mean, that guitar sound? Tell me another band that sounds like more than Limp Bizkit. So yeah, let's just go for like a super Chocolate Starfish kind of riff. I'm already feeling that. I was just super pumped for this. I've been wanting to do a Limp Bizkit video for a long time, so the riffs are just coming out. See if I can remember how that went. Fuck, how did that go? It kind of has like a Gold Cobra vibe, which I think is the most underrated album. See what else we can get. That's another good one. All right, let's track that as well. All right, I would already be happy to use one of those. I think they're awesome. The only thing I'm thinking is I want to capture everything. I want to capture the like, I want to capture the like all the Limp Bizkit tricks. Let's see if we can capture that in one riff. Okay, that actually kind of might be it. Captures everything I want and has that like bounce, that groove. I didn't know if it would be doable to like capture everything I want to from Limp Bizkit in one riff without it just feeling not simple enough, because it has to have that simple bounce, but that one could be it. Let's try it. Fucking sick. All right, that didn't sound perfect, but for now it will do, so let's just put it on all the tracks. The end of the bar, that is insane there. The slides and then the harmonic. So Limp Bizkit. I just want to jump in, guys, and say if you're enjoying this video, hit the like, subscribe. It genuinely means a lot to me when I see you guys liking this stuff, and it really helps the channel. Comment below what else you want to see me do on this channel, and if any of you guys need a producer or anything, hit me up. My Instagram and email are always below. Also, if any of you are vocalists, this track will be for sale alongside all my other tracks on my BeatStars in about a week or two after I put the video out, so look out for that. Thank you for watching, guys. Let's get back into it. All right, so now we have a shootout between these riffs. They're all sick. I'm gonna take this one and just put it like over here somewhere. And then this other one, I'll probably use that later on in the song. That's probably gonna be a chorus or a bridge or something. This has to be it. Now I'm thinking before we put any bass down or anything, let's put down a quick intro. And this is where we're gonna use these hip hop drums. So this is just copied straight over from the last Limp Bizkit beat I made, and it's just kind of old school hip hop sound, Drum Pro, which I think is like free in Contact. And I've got vinyl on it to make it sound a little bit aged. Limp Bizkit, super inventive band, very much have their own sound, but their verses are basically just a rock band completely ripping off like 90s hip hop, which is great, not a bad thing. Which snare? Janky snare. Janky hi-hat. So now we just want like a simple hip hop beat. You'll see what I'm doing here in a sec. This is going to be like a sick intro that leads into that riff. And on the last one, we will stop on the snare. All right, let's see how this works. I'm actually just going to copy that straight over. Let me actually re-record it. We'll bring that down. I don't remember how it goes, but I'll tidy that up later on. All right, and let's just quickly, again, I will tidy this up later on, but I've just had the idea to do this, so let's try it. Yeah, we'll do something like that. I'll make that pop later on. Verse, let's take the hip hop drums and... So we'll go very much like metal chorus, hip hop verse. Which means this track is coming in now. We've got to figure out some pretty... We're going to try and get some kind of like weird vibe, like 90s hip hop, guitar effects, verse ideas. Limp Bizkit has like that really janky kind of vibe that makes them feel like nasty, and they usually just chuck a couple of notes in there, just one or two kind of evil notes, and the rest quite nice. It's just, you know, fourths and fifths and sevenths, and then they'll throw in like a diminished fifth or a minor second, and just throw everything off, or like a major sixth. Nice. So we're in C minor. All right, that's one idea. See if we can get something better. Ooh, like I was saying, it's like that. All nice notes. Until that one. And then it's like, whoa, this is Limp Bizkit. We'll try writing some bass to it and see which one kind of grooves hardest, because the bass is a very important part of the verses in Limp Bizkit usually. Just before we track bass, I just want to try one thing. Like another trick Limp Bizkit does is like throw a little jazz chord in the background. Like this. Sounds like reggae or something. That was the wrong key. Like a major seventh. I'm gonna do that in a little bit. In the final version I show you guys, it will have something in there like that, and you'll be like, that is Limp Bizkit. All right, let's try some bass quickly and see if we can get this verse wrapped up, and then we can start thinking about a chorus. And in the verse, we just want to go for a janky mixtape from the 90s kind of vibe. So I have two bass sounds here. This is chill bass. They're both basically the same, but one is not distorted as much. So we've got the Dark Glass Ultra, as always in these videos, for distortion, and the Mark bass as usual, and then just a bunch of EQ and stuff. That's basically it. To be honest, there's not a lot more to be said about this bass sound. It's mainly about the playing with Limp Bizkit kind of stuff. Like, it's just like a grunge kind of bass sound. Something like that again. It's like all pretty nice notes. And then on the last one, just emphasizing that minor second. Just adding a little bit of tension and nastiness. Oh yeah, I have this 808 as well. Initial audio 808. It's just a really, really nice, basic kind of subby 808. Let's just a bit of low end. I can't remember exactly how this riff goes, but I'll tidy it up later on. I'm sure I'll play it wrong. All right, so we have an intro. Nasty verse. All right, back to guitar. I've got some ideas. Keeping the rhythmic feel there, so it's just feels very energetic despite things being kind of chill. All right, let's do, that could be a chorus. What if we added a second, so it's like, something like that, just to give it more variation and something that a vocalist can work with a little more. Right, the reason I've left 2 bars here is because I just thought, I'm trying to do every Limp Bizkit trick here. I've done the harmonics, I've done the slides, I've done the bends, I've done the low stuff. Like, gotta do some two-handed tapping. Keep the hip-hop drums going. Let's put it on a separate track and like filter the crap out of it. Do decapitator. Whack it right up. Pull a bunch of the high end out. All right, now we figure out. I'm bad at this, by the way. I was so good at two-handed tapping when I was like 17. I don't really practice ever these days. I just play guitar when I'm recording. So thank God we have editing, because you guys would be watching me do this for probably quite a long time. Yeah, that's cool. All right, I'm gonna get the roughest take in the world right now. That's gonna take some studio wizardry from me, but I'll do that later on. So now we have a little pre-chorus. I'll do a little swell. This is definitely sounding very Limp Bizkit, and we basically have like a song mapped out now. So we have like a intro into a main riff. Into a verse, into a progression on the verse, into a pre-chorus, into a chorus. So then it's going to go riff, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, end, probably. So what I'm going to do now is finish this, bring you guys back in and show you how it sounds finished. All right, guys, so I finished it. It sounds absolutely monstrous. The song isn't that different from how it was. I've just kind of tweaked things here and there, added a bridge like I said I would. Other than that, it's just like the odd guitar layer here and there, like some little moments that you'll notice. So I'll quickly walk you through a couple of the things that I've added and then we'll listen to it. So first of all, I did make this super quiet in the mix, but it has to be done. It's not even very noticeable in the full mix, but it just kind of gives it a bit of energy and a bit of like edginess. And that's just a bunch of free samples I found on YouTube that I like chopped up into what I wanted. I layered an extra drum kit in there, like this pop one. Pretty quiet. It just gives a bit more like pop to everything. Just super sharp sounds, so that just added a bit more like power to the metal drums. And then I added this like spacey new metal bridge that you'll hear in a second. So yeah, I'm not going to keep talking, let's listen to it. This was so much fun to make and I feel like this is one of the best things I've ever made. I love Limp Bizkit, I love new metal, and I really want to like bring it back. So this is my little tribute to one of my favorite bands, and hopefully it does something slightly new and my own as well. It definitely sounds like a heavier Limp Bizkit song and more modern to me. So hopefully I've pulled it off. See what you guys think. As always, thank you for watching. Like I was saying, hit me up and send me your music if you want to work together. If you want to buy beats, they're in the description too, so check that out. I'm gonna have to mute all these because as usual I've like overloaded the crap out of my CPU. So I'm gonna mute all these and then I've just pulled the master track in. So yeah, Limp Bizkit. Let's go.